Welcome everyone. We're so thrilled to have you all with us as we celebrate Shabbat, this very special Shabbat. And we celebrate a special bar mitzvah. We have a young bocher who became bar mitzvah 70 years ago and will be called to the Torah and read the same parasha again tomorrow morning. David Hausman, we're so happy to have you with us. And we're so happy to have family and friends from Makom and family and friends from across the country who are joining us this special Shabbat as we celebrate the legacy of Debbie Friedman with some incredible tributes from colleagues of hers and, of course, filled with Debbie's music. We will keep everybody muted during this service so that you can stay focused on what's happening on the screen. If you're not as familiar with Zoom, if you just put your Zoom into the spotlight mode, you'll see whomever is speaking or singing, which is mostly me, and you'll of course be able to hear all of our wonderful artists. We begin now with a melody that should be familiar. It's one of Debbie's. She sang it all the time, and you'll hear it again later in the service. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Sing from your homes with me. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Again, Shabbat Shalom for those who just joined us. Special thank you to Gina and Eric Michaels for sponsoring tonight's Shabbat celebration in honor of Gina's father becoming a bar mitzvah sheni, a second bar mitzvah, on the occasion of his 83rd birthday. We are going to begin this evening and throughout the evening have so many thoughts and words and of course music to honor and celebrate the legacy of Debbie Friedman as we acknowledge her 10th yartzeit. So hard to believe that it has been 10 years since she was physically present in this world, and yet there is no question that her music, her legacy lives on with all of us, those who knew her and those who never knew her, because her music is here to stay. So on this Shabbat Shirah, this Sabbath of song, this week when we celebrate our freedom from Egypt, we celebrate Debbie as a person, as a teacher, as a leader. We celebrate her music. She was well known throughout the world, but for my family, she was also a dear friend. She played an important role in our lives. I'll share more with you, but we are glad to be able to share a little bit of our connection and friendship with her, with you, as we celebrate her this night. Throughout the service, there will be well-known musicians, cantors, singers, songwriters who are lending their voices, but also sharing a little of the impact that Debbie has had on themselves and on their life and their connection to Jewish music. We begin with a dear friend of MakomNY, Cantor Magda Fishman, who is a cantor, a performer, a spiritual leader, and we turn to her at this time.
Shalom, I'm Cantor Magda Fishman, and I'm the senior cantor here in Boca Raton, Florida at B'nai Torah congregation. I'm so happy and honored to be here with you tonight with the Makom family and with my dear, dear friends, Rabbi Debbie Bravo and David Bravo, that was instrumental with the instrumentation for tonight, for my part at least. And actually played with Debbie Friedman. And I'm going to share with you two of her beautiful melodies to the liturgy, Ahavat Olam and Hallelujah. Both of them expressing so much. Ahavat Olam, Ahava, love of the world. And she had so much love to the world, and she expressed it so beautifully through her music and lyrics and personality. And Hallelujah, well, joined together singing, praising God with drums and in dancing. And I hope you raise your voices and join me. So may you love each other, love the world, and love brings love. And may you sing with your voices and with all your being, hallelujah, and be grateful for all that we do have and count our blessings, even in these challenging times. Let's sing together and hallelujah. Shabbat Shira Sameach.
השופר, הללו בנבל וכינור, הללו בטוב ומחול, הללו במילים ועוגב, הללויה, הללויה, שמה, הללו בציצלי תרועה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה, הללויה,
In our community, we always have individuals helping to lead our service, and tonight you'll hear just a little from their voices. We turn now our screen to Gavin Weingarten, who will lead us in Debbie's beautiful words of light these lights. He will be leading us at this time, as soon as we find him. I'm getting to Gavin right now. Apparently he disappeared on me for a moment. Hold on, Gavin. Stay where you are, and we will get to you. That's what happens when your last name is W. It's not working. As we find Gavin. There we go. Okay, Gavin's coming in, and Debbie always would introduce how the Katane wrote the lighting of the Shabbat candles with she would introduce with the light these lights.
Hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. Let us light these lights and see our way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see our way to you, and let us say Amen.
Thank you, Gavin. And we continue with Hadlakat Nerot, the lighting of our Shabbat candles. If you are lighting wherever you are, please join us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. As I look at so many of the names of people joining us this Shabbat, I see so many from our own Makom community, some of you who know Debbie's music and some who don't even realize that you know Debbie's music. But I also see so many people from across the country who have been at Debbie's services and her women's seders and her healing services and her concerts, have participated in Havana Shira, the song leaders workshop that was like nothing else before and probably won't ever quite be the same without her. Over the course of this year, I have been privileged, saddened, but also privileged to honor several of my teachers, my rabbi, my educator, and Debbie as well was one of my teachers and one of my friends. When we think of a person's legacy, we think of the blessings that they have left behind. Sometimes it takes a while for us to determine what is that loved one's legacy. With Debbie, we knew long before she ever departed from this world what her legacy would be. And so every day when we sing her songs, when we offer prayers of healing, when we come together and celebrate with Sederim, in whatever way we memorialize Debbie, we celebrate by living life. And that's truly what she would want us to do. Debbie began this journey when she was a song leader in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, something that was not really a term in those days to be a song leader. But she had a spirit that just drove her to do what other people had never done. She was connected to God in a way that many of us might be envious of. And so she took her voice and her guitar and her music and she sang to God. This was one of her first songs that she ever sang as a song leader. It needed a little revisions to become a little less male-centric over the years, but that's okay. Debbie as well grew in her Jewish learning. Sing unto God. Sing unto God, sing a new song, oh sing praises to God, give thanks to God with a song, oh sing praises unto the one above. Rejoice in our God, all the righteous, and cry out to our God with joy. Sing out from our hearts, oh sing praises to God. Bless God's name, oh sing unto our God a song of prayer. Sing praises to our God, sing unto God. Bless God's name, oh sing unto our God a song of prayer. Sing praises to our God, sing unto God. Sing unto God, sing a new song unto, sing unto God, sing a new song unto, sing unto God, sing a new song unto God. In case you're wondering, not an easy song to sing, but for those of us who knew Debbie, it was such a Debbie song. We continue by welcoming our Sabbath bride. We turn to one of our college students who blesses us with his beautiful voice and piano playing each and every week. Matt Orgel will lead us in Lecha Dodi.
La 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 lecha dodi, la 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 likra kala, la 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 pnei Shabbat nikabela, shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad, hishmianu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shemu tiferet v'litilah, la 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 lecha dodi, la 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 likra kala, la 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 pnei Shabbat nikabela, likrat Shabbat l'chu v'nelcha, ki mikor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavati,
So Debbie was always writing music. And when she was writing in her later years, she would often bring her songs to Havana Shira, the song leaders' camp, every summer. And her last Havana Shira, she wrote this song. And she is going to share these beautiful words, Shalom Aleichem. They weren't at a concert. They weren't recorded on a CD for us. She was celebrating a dear friend's birthday, and she sang it there. And beautifully enough, somebody recorded it. Shalom Aleichem. So Debbie had so many different interests and talents. And a number of years ago, when I was working in Short Hills, New Jersey, we had this idea to create a video, a VHS tape at the time, for people who were in the nursing home who might want some services of healing. And so Debbie came out and spent the day with us with 30 children, and we created beautiful music and prayers and a wonderful service for people there. And much of that footage has not been shared with the greater world. So tonight, we want to share a few little pieces throughout the service at appropriate times with you. This first prayer is You Are the One. It's Reb Nachman's prayer. It reminds us so much of nature. And so as we join in our prayer of creation, we turn to Debbie's words, You are the one.
You are the one, for this I pray, that I may have the strength to be alone, to see the world, to stand among the trees and all the living things, that I may stand alone and offer prayers and talk to you. You are the one to whom I do belong. And I'll sing my song, I'll sing my soul to you. And give you all that's in my heart.
We move from words of creation to words of revelation as we continue in our liturgy with Cantor Magda Fishman singing Debbie's Ahavat Olam, something we sing regularly in our own community.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם ולילה, נגי יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל.
So friends, Debbie has a beautiful melody for Shema that we have been singing over this past year in this pandemic. I find it brings such peace to our service. And so on this time when we do this Shema, I want to invite her dear friend, I think she's up at the top, E.J. Cohen, is going to do some interpreting as she always did. EJ, you were a fixed part on every stage that Debbie ever performed on that was greater than a few hundred people. And so when I saw that EJ was going to join us tonight, I invited her to be spotlighted so all of you could see how EJ would share music with people who couldn't necessarily hear, but she allowed them to feel Debbie's energy. Shema. If you want to stay there, we're going to continue with MakomNY, our song of freedom, our song of celebration, the words we read from Torah this week. Yay, la 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 la. Yay, la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la 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 la. MakomNY ba'elim Adonai, MakomNY nedar b'kodesh, norat tehilot osei peleh, norat tehilot osei peleh. Malechotecha ra'u banecha, bokayim lifnei Moshe uMiriam, ze Elianu ve'amru, ze Elianu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. EJ, if you're willing, we've got one more. That's a good one for you. Always on Shabbat, whatever our week has looked like, we come together as a community to find strength, to find peace, to find blessing on Shabbat. And these words remind us of the importance of celebrating Shabbat. And this is Debbie's melody for Vishamru. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, et HaShabbat la'asot, et HaShabbat ledorotam, berit olam, berit olam. Yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz hayom hashmi'i Shabbat Shabbat vayinafash. DJ, as always, thank you. We turn now to Maya, who will lead us in Am I Awake as we prepare ourselves for this main part of our service. Thank you, Maya. We always take a moment in every service to be grateful for so much. I know that sometimes we feel lives are cut short, and imagine what could have been if only they have lived longer. Those of us who know Debbie, who knew Debbie well, know that she would have kept writing. She would have filled our souls. Oh, how she would have supported us with her music and her melodies in this past year. But we must be grateful for all that she gave us. Her gifts continued to give in her music, in her spirit, in the teachings she gave us throughout her life. And so for that, we are truly grateful. And we are grateful as well for each of you who celebrated life this week by celebrating a birthday. If it's your birthday this week and I don't share your name, please make sure, throw it in the chat, throw it in the comments on Facebook. You must celebrate things right now, and we celebrate your lives. We celebrate the birthdays of Josh Kazin, Robin Block, Harry Clark, Sarah Cohen, Ethan Kaplan, Austin Bank, Jillian Pollock, Max Ladden, Vivian Levy, Steve Pinsky, Barbara Zion Green. Yom Huledet Sameach, may you continue to be filled with life and with blessing. And now we turn our screens to another regular participant in our service. Howard, we love having your voice and your guitar to lead us in Birkat Shalom, our prayer for peace, every week.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. בטוב עיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם.
Thank you, Howard. And so we now turn to Mishaberach, a prayer so many of us do every Shabbat around the world. A prayer that was only really understood in the most traditional of senses until Debbie decided that this way is more important than only being connected to a Torah Aliyah on Shabbat morning, that we needed to embrace the concept of healing. And so we all share names of loved ones each and every week across the world because we learned from Debbie how important it is for us to come together in community for prayers of healing. So many in our community, in our world, are in need of these prayers right now. In our community, those who have been shared with us, Pat Pegliuka, Humaira Rizvi, Mina Bracha Bat Belka Gitel, Yehudit Gavriela, Henya Bat Yeda, Michael Blend, Harav Chaim Ben Sviva Rachalea, Hechazan Yaakov Alea Bat Sarachaya V'Yitzchak HaKohen, Leah Corey, Shandel Sarah Bat Chaya Ruchel, Sandra Inber, Michael Landisberg, Chana Ruchel, Michelle Allison, Kevin and Loretta McGovern, Sebastian Musikar, Julia Eisenberg, Chaya Tzipora Bat Rivka, Sherry Brasner, Cynthia Murphy, Sharon Rafer, Jeff Siegel, Michael Marcus, Jacqueline Speckler, Aryeh Leib Avram Ben Chana, Terry Greenberg, Atara Rachel Bat Basha, Shoshana Bat Sarah, Violet Nahum, Stephen Lenz, Shimon Yitzchak Ben Rachel Aharon, Sheila Taylor, Leah Rose Norris. So many, those suffering from COVID, those suffering from other illnesses, those suffering in body and mind and in spirit. Debbie taught us whenever she would lead Mishaberach, she would offer it one time for everybody who was present to have a sense of healing, and then she would allow you to sing with her. So we are going to share it twice. First, you'll hear it from singer, performer Noah Aronson, who has also been touched by Debbie, and then you'll hear it from Debbie in a beautiful setting.
Hi, MakomNY friends, and Debbie and David. I am so appreciative that you invited me to be part of this experience, honoring Debbie Friedman and her legacy and her music. I know daily that her work and her life's work, I am currently standing on her shoulders, and every aspect of what I do in this world is somehow attributed to the work that she did in this world. And so I wanted to sing one of her most well-known pieces, a piece that at this point we call it Mi Sinai. We forget exactly the source of where it comes from, even though we all know that it was Debbie's. She changed how we approached healing. She brought an opportunity for us to bring healing into our services each and every week. And I go around communities around the country and around the world, in Israel, in London, and people are singing this song, Blessings for Healing. Mi sheberach
מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mekor those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say
Amen. I see some of your faces. I know, hearing Debbie sing Misha Berach, it's not like anything else, right? So, Debbie wrote all different kinds of songs, and as she got older, she embraced text and Torah study and embraced our liturgy in different ways. And it's my pleasure now to introduce Beth Schafer, who will share a different kind of song, also connected in some ways to healing.
How blessed I am to be able to offer Sow in Tears, Reap in Joy, a beautiful setting from Psalms by our beloved Debbie Friedman. Debbie was the first musician to inspire me as a kid, who blended the two things I loved the most, music and Judaism, in a way that was current, that was accessible, that helped me understand the liturgy that I so desperately wanted to understand. She fueled my career, both with her physical and spiritual presence, as well as her music. And I would not be where I am today were it not for her vision, her inspiration, her aspirations, and that unbelievable spark that she had that brought life to Judaism in a way that no one had ever experienced before. May all who are suffering through this time of pandemic and beyond know joy.
Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow
thanks to Beth for that beautiful rendition of Those Who Sow. Let us find an inner peace. Let us turn to our own thoughts. If we were friends, colleagues, participants in Debbie's life when she was with us, think of a special moment and hold on to it. And if you never knew Debbie, but you know her music, and if you didn't before tonight, you do now, think of a way that it is impacting you and how you will continue to hold her legacy with you. As we take a moment in silence and we reflect on so much of the music that she has provided us. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru Amen. Sing with me. Oseh shalom imramav Ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol I know it feels sacrilegious not to sing it about 6 more times, but we have a full service. So we are celebrating Parshat Bishalach, the Song of the Sea. We celebrate our exodus from Egypt. We celebrate our freedoms. And yet the Israelite people are standing at the shore of the sea, and they're not sure how they are going to get across. And there is a midrash that says that Nachshon took a step in and was brave enough without knowing if the waters would part, and he stepped a little further and stepped a little further. And finally, Moses holds up his staff and the waters part and the Israelite people are able to be free, and we can feel their joy, their sense of celebration. And we imagine them at the other side. Ashir al Adonai, we sing unto God. And as our Torah tells us, Miriam took a timbrel in her hand and she sang out in joy and in celebration. Our Debbie understood what this scene looked like. She understood what it meant for Miriam and all the women to gather and to find timbrels and to sing in joy. And so if you have a timbrel, take it up wherever you are. And we turn now to listen to Debbie singing one of our favorites.
And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced all night long. And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wove was one which singers history. With every thread and every strand, she crafted her delight. A woman touched with spirit, she danced the song of light. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang a song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced all night long. As Miriam stood upon the shores and gazed across the sea, the wonder of this miracle she soon came to believe. Whoever thought the sea would part with an outstretched hand, and we would pass the freedom and march to the promised land. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang a song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced that dance all night long. And Miriam the prophet took her timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her just as she had planned. And Miriam raised her voice with song, she sang with praise and might. We just lived through a miracle, we're going to dance tonight. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang a song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced all night long. Women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang a song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced all night long.
And so they danced. By the way, you may have noticed a keyboard player in there that looks a little familiar, as well as our dear friend, the drummer, Benny. So not only do we get this beautiful story in our Torah, but this week our Haftarah from the prophets is Devorah the prophet. It's another brave individual who was a warrior and a prophetess. She is the only woman in the Hebrew Bible with a major political position and portrayed in a positive light. Little did Debbie's parents know when they named her what an incredible besheretness it would be for her to have that name. And so I turn now to Julie Silver, one of our most celebrated performers of contemporary Jewish music today, who will share these words that Debbie wrote about Deborah, the prophet.
Shabbat Shalom, MakomNY. One day we'll do this in person, okay? For now, I just want to send my love and my gratitude. I'm honored to be invited. A few words about our Debbie, whose Hebrew name, by the way, was Dina. In fact, my wife and I named our daughter after Debbie, our 9-year-old, Shira Dina. This piece that she wrote that I've never really performed, but I've been working on, and I'd love to share with you, is her song for Deborah Lipstadt. That's who she wrote it for whom she wrote this beautiful song. And I can't help but smile and thank God for her presence in my life. She indeed gave me life. Didn't she give us all life? Devorah the prophet was a judge in Israel. She sat beneath her palm tree on a hill, and people came from everywhere to hear her judgments honest and fair. Devorah the prophet, Devorah our mother in Israel. Arise, arise, Devorah, arise, arise, and sing a song. Arise, arise, Devorah, Uri, Uri, Dabri, Shir. Devorah the prophet was courageous, strong and wise. Her people lived in peace for 40 years. The 12 tribes live together as one for the first time since the world had begun. Devorah the prophet, Devorah our mother in Yisrael. Arise, arise, Devorah, arise, arise, and sing a song. Arise, arise, Devorah, Uri, Uri, Dabri, Shir. Arise, Devorah, arise and sing a song. Arise, Devorah, Uri, Uri, Dabri, Shir. Devorah the prophet, a woman of fire, her torch in hand. She led the Israelites to victory. Barak said, Devorah, I cannot fight unless you are standing right by my side. Devorah the prophet, Devorah our mother in Yisrael. Arise, arise, Devorah, arise, arise, and sing a song. Arise, arise, Devorah, Uri, Uri, Dabri, Shir. Uri, Uri, Dabri, Shir. Uri, Uri, Dabri, Shir.
Thank you to Julie for that beautiful version of Devorah the prophet. Debbie was our modern day prophet in so many ways. She loved to write about strong women, Miriam and Devorah. She was brave like Nachshon, stepping into waters that she had no idea what was going to happen as she continued to forge forward. She loved to play to large crowds in huge halls. I was able to have her share in several of my communities over the years with thousands of people in some of those seats. But she also loved intimate settings, in a backyard, outside, at camp, at Havana Shira, and people's homes. She loved to just create music. She loved to just share her gifts with others and really to get others turned on to Judaism and to music and to embrace it the way that she did. Many of you know that Debbie is so connected to our family. I've known her since I was a camper at Aronson Ruby Union Institute camp. I had the privilege of being not only her student, but the unit head that helped her in camp in so many ways. I was at the very first Havana Shira while I was working at camp. And I've seen her in so many different settings. And then my husband David, who is sitting right there, was her keyboard player for 10 years. We met through her. She officiated at our wedding. She is godmother to our son. We celebrated his bris in her beautiful New York apartment. And we have been together in highs and lows throughout the years. Debbie loved both the big and the small, but what she loved most was to bring prayer to people, to connect people to our God. Here's just a little taste of one of the many songs that did just that.
Hallelujah.
And not only did Debbie love to connect people to prayer, she loved to teach. She truly had a gift to teach others her gift. And I think the more the years passed, the more she embraced that teaching. She didn't always, quite honestly, have patience for young children, but she loved them. And when they stepped up to the plate, as this group of children did so many years ago when we recorded this video, she loved to be the teacher. So here we turn to one more song with Debbie. I know you'd like to hear all the songs of everything, but just a little taste. So I think more than anything, teacher, leader, prophetess, Debbie loved to see herself in the role of helping people in the process of healing, of helping herself and helping others. And she wrote not just Misha Beirach, but a number of songs that could do just that. She said, a person cannot free themselves from bondage. The truth is we are all prisoners and we all need to help each other out of prison. Healing is in recognizing that each of us is limited. None of us is perfect. Jacob wrestled with the angel and walked away. We are all limping, but we all have the potential to heal and to use our shattered hearts to bring comfort to others and to the brokenness of the world. No question, this year, our world is in need of that healing. And so let us be grateful for the gift that Debbie has given us. Debbie wrote so many songs that so many of us sing on a regular basis. And I see many of my colleagues on tonight. There are many songs we use, but there is one that I use at critical life cycle moments, and I use it when babies are born, when I stand under the chuppah with wedding couples, because it says, may you be a blessing. So I want to share it first with you in a more intimate setting, and then I want you to experience one more time what it's like to be with Debbie in concert with hundreds of people, to feel the power, to feel the energy, to feel the excitement, the prayer, and the love. Lech Ilach. This was at our son Sam's bris, which was Parshat Lech Lecha, in Debbie's apartment.
Lech Ilach, everyone, to the land that I will show you. Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know. On your journey I will bless you. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lech Ilach.
Don't sit down, don't sit down. You just have to get up again. Just grab the person next to you. Lech Ilach, to a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha,
place you do not know. On your journey I will bless you. And you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. And I shall make your name great. And I shall make your name. Lech lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechilach, to the place that I will show you. Chaim. L'simchat chaim lechilah.
And may Debbie continue to be a blessing for all of us as we continue to bring blessing to others. Amen. We turn now to Peri Smilow, who will share with us some thoughts and another one of Debbie's songs.
Hello, Rabbi Bravo, and your wonderful community. Shabbat Shalom. It's really a great honor to have been asked to spend a little time with all of you in celebration of the life of Debbie Friedman. She was really a trailblazer. We don't need to say it, it's sort of obvious, but she was a trailblazer in so many ways. And this piece of music that I'm about to share with you tonight, for me, says everything that I ever knew about Debbie. It wasn't just that she was a great musician and a wonderful songwriter. It wasn't just that she was learned Jewishly and studied text and put her texts into her songs, but it's also that she understood what the purpose and meaning of our music is in our worship. And she knew how to connect the dots and make it all matter for all of us. So this piece is called The Time Is Now, and it's always really spoken to me of the importance of making our makom, our place, kadosh, holy, and what it takes to do that. The time is now. We've gathered round, so bring all your gifts and bring all your burdens with you. No need to hide, arms open wide, we gather as one to make a makom kadosh. We come to tell, we come to hear, we come to teach, to learn, we've come to grow, and so we say, the time is now. Sing to the one, God's presence is here, Shechina, you will dwell among us. We'll make this space a holy place, so precious, so rejoice every soul, whoever
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you to Peri and to all of our musicians. We still will hear from Donnie Maseng and our own Jessica Steinman. We take a moment now in memory. Memory is a gift, and so let us remember all of our loved ones. As a community, we remember so many, those who died in this past week, Patty Weiner, those for whom we observe Shloshim, Ben Brosh, Carol Schwartz, Herb Unterlach, and those for whom we are observing the first year of saying Kaddish, Mark Shapiro, Jamie Nacht, Kana Bat Etta Murovsky, John Whitmore Sr., Alan Rothstein, Miriam Kaufman, Jessica Jacobs, Lucille Bizarre, Esther Sochet, the Honorable Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Yitzchak, Paul Burko, Susan Land, Ira Sandler, Rabbi Mark Shapiro, Debbie Moses, Larry Hornstein, Ruth Kleinman, Gladys Newworth, Jane Zion, Michael Hilborn, Edward Kaufman, Miriam Gitlin, Ethel Rosenbaum, Rosalind Innerfield, Sylvia Raffleson, Alan Stolberg, Marilyn Epstein, Wilma Oppenheim, Nahum Ben Meir Verachel, Edward Kasdan, Bella Shanzer, Ronald Broth, Miriam Jacobs, May Burrows. And we observe the yartzeit, the anniversary of the passing, for Debbie Friedman, for our dear family friend Joe Galoff, for Ann Lustig, and all those whom you're remembering on this Shabbat. And so we turn Steve Shapiro as well, Sonny Gitlin, Dory Feldman, Riva Lesko, Richard Sonor. We turn to the words of Kaddish as we join together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kari v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudisha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May God, the source of peace, and peace to all who mourn, and comfort to all who are bereaved. And together let us all say, Amen. And we turn now to our dear friend at MakomNY, Donnie Maseng, who's been a dear friend of mine for so many years and was a beloved friend of Debbie, was with her in her final days as well.
Dear Debbie and David and members of MakomNY, thank you for doing this, for memorializing Debbie Friedman and her music, giving voice to this extraordinary teacher and gifted leader. My friend Debbie Friedman left this world on January 9th, 2011. I'm not sure when is an appropriate time to leave the world, but I'm pretty certain she left too early. I first met Debbie in 1992 in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, at Olin Sang Ruby Union Institute, a camp where she was preparing to lead a song session, and I, her partner in leading Havana Shira, the Song Leaders Workshop. I had never been to a song session before. I can still remember my reluctance in participating. I can still remember my life changing. I still remember crying like a child. And I can still remember thinking, so this is what a congregation can feel like when it sings. Debbie had a gift of finding that tune that people needed to hear at that moment. And it was never about complexity or sophistication. It was about just getting straight to the heart. straight to the heart with a simple, beautiful melody. She changed, revolutionized, blew open the doors of synagogue in North America to begin with, and then around the world. Her music was transformative. It has affected all liberal Jewish sacred music throughout the world for the last 40 years. My friend Debbie was a passionate, fiery, wonderful, funny, powerful, infuriating, difficult person. Never easy, but she was a woman of true substance, of real value, of lasting value. And I adored her, as did my family. I miss her terribly. My heart was transformed and opened because of Debbie, and I know scores of spiritual seekers whose lives were changed because they had encountered Debbie. I hope that her music will continue to open hearts around the world and change willing souls wherever they are. And you shall be a blessing, Debbie. Lechi lach.
To a land that I will show you. Lech lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi lach, on your journey I will bless you. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach. Lechi lach, and I shall make your name great. Lech lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechi lach, to the place that I will show you. Lesimchat chayim, lesimchat chayim, lesimchat chayim, lechi lach. And you shall be a blessing, and you shall be a blessing. Lechi lach, lechi lach.
Thank you to Donnie and MakomNY. We still are going to hear from Jessica, but we want to honor our bar mitzvah sheni, our bar mitzvah who will be called to the Torah for the second time tomorrow morning, as he celebrated his 83rd birthday this week. And so it is our pleasure, David, to invite you to lead us in Kiddush. I know if Debbie were alive, she would have come up with some beautiful song special to sing for this second bar mitzvah, but we hope that your celebration will be one that we will continue to celebrate with many others. So David, you are going to lead us in Kiddush.
Savri Moran Rabosai, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Borei Peri Hagafen, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Asher kishana b'mitzvosav, v'rotzavonu, v'shabas chodshau, v'havov rotzon hinchaltanu, zikaron l'masei v'reishis, ki yom techilo l'mikre kodesh, zecher l'tzias mitzroyim, ki vonu v'acharto, v'yosonu kidashto, Mikol Hamim, V'Shabbos Kovshecho, V'Yavov Rotzon, Hinchaltonu, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbos.
Amen. Now that is a kiddush. So, amen, David. We so look forward to celebrating with you tomorrow morning. We thank your daughter and son-in-law, Gina and Eric Michaels, for sponsoring our Shabbat celebration. And if anybody wants to join us tomorrow, it's a different Zoom room, so just let us know. We'll be sure to get you the link. And we turn now to Harry and Leo Clark, who will lead us in Motzi. They have a very large homemade challah, I know, sitting right before them. And their mom, Audra, happens to be the chair of Makom, so she will just give a word of welcome. Are you still muted? Oh. Hold on.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lachem min haaretz b'tei.
Amen. Yasher koach, boys. And Harry was the braider of that challah, so good job, Harry. Audra, welcome.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. It is really hard to follow such wonderful participation, especially our immediate predecessor. That was so impressive. Welcome, everyone, friends near and far. In thinking about saying that, I was thinking these days we're all kind of both near and far at the same time. So that's everybody, I guess. Thank you to the Michaels family again for sponsoring our Shabbat in honor of the very special simcha of your family this weekend. And thank you to everybody for joining us for this extraordinarily special Shabbat tonight. I think it actually perfectly captures what our MakomNY ordinarily special Shabbat is like. And it's just a pleasure to be able to share it with everyone. It's a Shabbat that has been brought into our living rooms every Friday since March, thanks to our incredible Rabbi Debbie Bravo, incredibly talented musical director David Bravo, and the wonderful singers and musicians in our community who share with us every week: Gavin and Maya, Daniela, Fallon, Marissa, Jillian, Matt, of course, Howard, and those who we don't get to see when we're on Zoom, Machik, and someone who will be following this, I believe, who is a very special member of our Makom family, Jessica Steinman. It's just wonderful to at least get to be together in this way. Thank you, Rabbi Bravo, for making this possible for all of us, this special break on Shabbat that we all, I think, need in these uncertain times, but having this as something certain has been really special. And thank you, everyone, for being with us tonight for this extra special Shabbat.
Thank you, Audra, so much. And we are going to conclude the evening. I hope an evening that you found such a joy, celebration. Yes, maybe a little bit of sadness and wishing that Debbie could be here with us. But I hope really the joy is what Debbie would have wanted us to realize and to celebrate. So we are going to share a screen, and I think that Jessica might even be on, and I believe Cantor Fishman is on, and possibly a handful more of colleagues and those who joined us, but we're going to share what she shared in advance. And after Jessica concludes, we'll say goodbye to those on Facebook, and anybody on Zoom will invite you to unmute yourselves so we can say hello and wish one another a Shabbat Shalom. So our own cantorial soloist who needs no introduction in our community, we go back to Olin Sang days, and I'm thrilled to invite her to share these words and this song.
Shabbat Shalom, my Makom family. I hope everyone's been great, safe, healthy. I was so happy to be asked by Rabbi Bravo to say a little thing before singing, because I have loved Debbie Friedman for years and years and years and years. And we all know Debbie Friedman's Misha Berach and the Lador Vador, and the list goes on and on and on. There is no piece of prayer that does not have a Debbie Friedman version. And that brings us all a little bit of peace, a little bit of connection, and I love that about her music, and I loved that about Debbie. I'm singing tonight Tefilat Haderech. It is Debbie's prayer, her version of the Traveler's Prayer.
May we be blessed as we go on our way. May we be guided in peace. May we be blessed with health and joy. May this be a blessing. Amen. 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 May this be a blessing. Amen. 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 May this be a blessing. Amen. May we be sheltered by the wings of peace. May we be kept in safety and in love. May grace and compassion find their way to every soul. May this be a blessing. Amen. 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 May this be a blessing. Amen. 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 May this be a blessing.
Amen. Sorry for a little glitch in the middle of the service. I want to thank EJ. I loved having you. You were at the top of my screen almost the entire service, and I loved watching you move to Debbie's words. And special thank you to David, not only because he was her musical director for 10 years, which means, by the way, that every time we listen to a Debbie song, there are always many critiques. Not about Debbie, but how we are or aren't embracing it the way she meant for it to be. But also thank you to Peri, Julie, Beth, Noah, Donnie, Magda, and Jessica for participating tonight. May we all be filled with blessing. May we go from strength to strength. And together, let us all say, Amen. So we are going to stop our live stream, and I do want to remind everybody you can come off mute. Sherry and Rachel will help to unmute people. If you put yourself in gallery mode, you'll be able to see everybody. And just a reminder while I have you all on here that we do have a Women's Seder coming up in a couple of months, and we use almost all of Debbie's music for that Seder. We'd be happy for you to join us for that. So Shabbat Shalom, everybody.